Titles, go.
You five jackasses.
The champ is here.
Is he? I can't see him. Booze, broads, and bacon.
Buttlight.
Fuck off.
Bad dragon.
Driving fast in increasingly ridiculous places.
Being cheeky.
No future.
It's true.
Left to right.
I have it bookmarked.
I sweat when I eat.
Furry tuxedo.
Sexy bunny rabbit?
A word of the tortoise and the pubic hair.
All right. Let's do this.
Warning. What you are about to hear contains explicit language, adult themes, and potentially disturbing content. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and do not reflect the opinions of anyone else, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. This podcast is intended for an immature audience and should not be listened to by anyone, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. You know, fuck it. You've been warned.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Geek Pod. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm Hugh.
Corbs.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Jack. Fuck you, Eagles. You fucked me over.
Wow.
Oh.
All right, guys, what's got you geeked?
I have got something very interesting that might be of interest to you, Paul, and maybe you, Corbs, as well. So since I discovered, that I'm diabetic and I've had to now try to control it through food rather than injectables, one of the things I've missed is pasta. I was never a huge pasta person. Well, I'm a huge person, but I'm not made of pasta. But yeah, but I still loved it. I mean, I love to make spaghetti every once in a while and eat like 2 plates of it or whatever. But it wasn't an everyday thing. But something I did eat a lot more often was ramen. As a quick lunch, I loved ramen, and that's pretty much that's off limits, right? You're diabetic,
Mhm.
that's off limits. It's ridiculous, but it's not. I discovered a company called Immi Ramen. That is IMMI Ramen, and what they've done is they have made low carb ramen. And when I say low carb, there are 3 flavors. There's spicy beef, tom yum shrimp, and black garlic chicken, and the net carbs in these are 5 or 6 per package.
Nice.
Yeah, it's actually really good. Tons of protein, like 22 grams of protein or something, I think, 20-ish in each one. And I was all excited about it. I'm like, this sounds awesome. Somebody finally made a product, a pasta-like thing. So I went and ordered some. Here's the thing. It's $40 for a pack of 6 of them. They're like $6.50 a piece. And I know that's a lot, but I'm like, you know what? Because you can't buy them singly, at least around here.
course,
None of
yeah.
our stores sell them. I'm like, you know what? I want to try it. It's not something that I can plan on having for lunch every single week. Like, it's not going to be a regular grocery thing, but a couple times a year, grab them when you really get that hankering. So got it delivered this week. I tried the black garlic chicken first, and I got to say I'm impressed. Now,
Nice.
the instructions say boil for 5 minutes if you want like like al dente, 9 minutes if you want them softer. I found that that's not quite long enough. I mean, it is edible, but I went on their Facebook page and a bunch of people talked about it. Like some people add extra water and boil it for 15 minutes and that'll get you a regular ramen texture. So I'm going to try that. But even that being said, it was basically like if you'd boiled your ramen for 2 minutes instead of 3 minutes, how it's a little chewy but still edible. That's basically what it was like. The flavor was great. It was noodles again for the first time in like 4 or 5 months. I was so fucking happy. So it's definitely worth checking out. They do sell it at some, you might be able to find it at specialty grocery stores. I mean, I didn't actually look around here. I just know they don't have it at, Wegmans and Price Chopper. Um, but yeah, I mean, the people that make it have said, listen, if we're able to bring down the costs, we will pass that on to the customer. We understand this is a little bit pricey, but two things. Number one, I mean, it's all natural ingredients. Like they're sourcing some crazy shit to make this magic happen, and it's not cheap. And because they're a small company, they just can't. Yeah, they're this is what they have to charge to be profitable at this time. If they get bigger and they can expand their manufacturing, they're hoping they'll be able to drop the price. And they were very receptive in talking to people on their Facebook page about this, that
Nice.
they get it. They'd like to lower the price, but at this time, they can't do that unless they start selling more.
They're also
how'd you
lower
find-
in
yeah.
sodium than
Yep.
Cup of Noodles Martian and
Yep.
Nongshim.
Lower in sodium as well. Yeah, it's good. I mean, you're not going to sit there and eat this and go, "Oh my God, this is Marachon ramen noodles." But you're also going to think to yourself, "Well, you know what? I've actually undercooked Marachon before, and it pretty much tasted like this." So, is it worth $40 for 6 of them? Man, I don't know. I'm on the fence. Maybe it is. It depends on how much
Nice.
you like ramen. I mean, if you're a big ramen fan, then it's probably a yes.
Awesome.
How'd you find us, Hugh?
I
How'd you
just
stumble upon it?
saw a Facebook ad.
Sweet.
Oh, no kidding. Nice.
Speaking of Facebook ads, oh my God. I wanted to make sure I told you guys about this. So we've talked about how, your phone is always listening to you, and we've brought up examples, but here's something fucking crazy, okay? Now I'm going to say the words out loud. So I don't know if you know this, but one of our friend's daughters, the friend I'm talking about, she's been deaf in one of her ears pretty much her entire life. And she just had a cochlear implant put in. And today, Damara walks in, shows me a picture of this girl with tears in her eyes, and she's got a mask on. She's at the doctor's, and her mother had said, she's crying because she can hear me. Very, very emotional, very thing. That's all she said. She's crying because she can hear me. No mention of the word hearing aid, ear, anything at all. I didn't say anything because I know what the situation is. My wife and I can talk without talking half the time. All that was said is, look, she's crying because she can hear her. And then she left. Sat down at her desk, opened up Facebook, immediately saw an advertisement for a hearing aid. And we're like,
Wow.
what the fuck? And she was like, maybe it's scanning her pictures, but I mean, you can't even see the implant in the picture. We have absolutely no idea how that could happen.
Where did you see the picture?
Well, she showed me a picture that had been texted to her. And then when she opened Facebook, because we know your phone listens to you, Facebook had an ad for a hearing aid. But I mean, this is one of those situations we say, oh, we just mentioned it and it showed up, but neither of us actually said it. It's crazy. I don't understand how that works.
It's intrusive. It's very intrusive. I'm just waiting now to see
I
if
could
it's also
explain
going to
it.
show up on my stuff.
You could?
Yeah.
Okay.
You said it was a text message, right?
Yes.
A picture with words?
No. No, well, there was no. The words were, "She's crying because she can hear me."
Yeah. On your phone. And then where did you
on my
go?
wife's phone.
Where did you go visit Facebook?
My wife visited Facebook on her phone.
There you go.
So what you're saying is that Facebook is also reading your text messages and pictures
Nope.
that are not.
Nope. Google picked it up, or whatever the operating system is, picked up the words.
Oh, like keyworded.
Yep.
And then pass that on to Facebook.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Facebook's got its hooks into both phone operating systems.
Oh, I'm
Deep.
sure.
Deep.
Yeah, just
Here's exactly how it works when it happens in your house. Let me just explain this to you. And trust me, this is exactly how it works. My wife is on the phone with her friend talking about whatever. I'm going to cook some noodles tonight. I'm going to buy a brand new colander. I'm on Facebook on my computer. I get an ad for a colander. Here's how it happens. She said it on the phone. The phone is an iPhone. Okay. Her friend is on an Android. One of them picked it up. Kathy and I are both in the same household. We both have the same IP address. Picks it up. That's how it works. And it's not that they're listening. It's that you haven't done what you have to do to make sure applications don't have access to other applications on your phone, on your computer. Nobody does that. So they do. And you don't know what happens behind the scenes. It's not listening to you. It's paying attention to everything that's going on the computer, on the phone.
I'm just surprised I don't get weird ads immediately after recording this show every time.
Right.
Or when you say, I wish I had $1 million, that doesn't show up and you're like, hey.
You know why I don't get anything like that? Because I don't use Facebook. I don't use any of that crap anymore. I don't even have it installed on my phone. I don't have it installed on any of my devices. I barely go on social media anymore. And my life is so much happier.
You're so cool, Kev.
I'm just saying. It's easy to avoid this stuff. Anyway.
Some of us use it to maintain relationships with people we don't talk to anymore. So I use it for that. I don't post much
listen
anymore.
to what you just said. You maintain a relationship with people you don't talk to anymore. If you're not talking to anymore, why the fuck you maintain a relationship?
Because maybe they're your children, and the only time you ever learn anything about them is when they post it to Facebook.
Fucking talk to people. Call them up. Go visit.
I can tell you don't have
Jesus
children because
Christ.
it doesn't work like that, especially when they become adults.
Okay. Let's go on. Move on.
All right, I'll go next, I guess. So a couple of years ago, I decided to do my ancestry. So I wanted to do like a family tree and see like where I come from, yada yada yada. So I found out more about myself. I'm Irish, but this was a cool thing. Like I don't want to go in the whole ancestry because I got all the way back to the 1300s, which is really cool. What I really wanted to figure out was more about my grandmother's brother. His name was John Francis Hart, which I thought was really cool. His name was Jack. Like, my name is Jack, so I'm named after this guy, which I really thought was neat. So I did a little bit more digging. My grandma told me he died at 24 years old in the Philippines during the World War II. That's all I knew. But recently, I just found out he was a 3-letter athlete at Cornell University, and he was good at football, basketball, and baseball, which was really neat. So, and then actually, when he was at Cornell, he was actually a very good quarterback. And he was actually, Corbs will find this fascinating. He was getting interest from the New York Giants to try out for the NFL, which I was like, oh, wow, interesting. So, but I actually found letters that he actually wrote to them and was like, I do not want to try out for the NFL right now. I want to go serve my country. When I come home, maybe I'll try it out then. So he went to do World War II. And of course, the rest is history. He died during World War II in the Philippines at 24 years old. So, but I found his platoon recently. I found like the Dear John letter that they wrote home to my grandmother's parents that said your son has died in World War II and all that. So that was kind of cool. I found all that. And this is ballsy right here. So I'm doing more digging the other day. I found somebody, he's still alive. His name was Joseph. I don't want to say last name, but his name's Joseph, and he's 98 years old. And he served with my great uncle in the same platoon, and he's still alive, and he's in the same area that my great uncle was. So I was like, you know what? I'm home from work. Fuck it. I have the phone number. I just call it. This guy is 98 years old, believe it or not. So like I'm on the phone with a 98-year-old, and he's like, who are you? I was like, oh, I was John Francis Hart's great grandson. He doesn't know who I am, but Eleanor Hart was my grandmother. And he's like, oh my God, Ellie was your grandmother? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, like I'll have to, like, literally we were on the phone talking for an hour and we exchanged emails. This guy is a 98-year-old that knows everything about technology, which is plugged in, which is really cool. He sent me pictures of my great uncle, my grandmother that my mom never even saw these pictures. I thought was fascinating. So this is just really cool. I'm just like diving deeper into history and finding more about my family. And I was like, holy fuck. So like, this is really fascinating. I'm like, but like my grandma always had this picture near her bedside of her brother and me, because his name was John Francis Hart and I'm John Ryan Corbett, her 2 Jacks, she called it. So I was like, that's really, really cool.
Wait a minute. You're Jack Ryan?
John Ryan Corbett is my name.
But you call yourself Jack, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're Jack Ryan. That's interesting.
I don't understand how John Ryan Corbett turns into Jack.
John is a nickname for Jack. Jack is a nickname for John.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack is a
Jack,
nickname for John.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Well,
they used to call
sometimes.
JFK Jack
That's
Kennedy.
they call
funny
So-
you bring up
sometimes.
Ancestry, because I just got a notification today that Ancestry received my DNA test, because I bought one of those, because I got a text message from my ex-wife, and she I guess her and my middle daughter had it done, and she's like, look at Elliot, this is crazy. She's like, I found out I have some Middle East in me, and look at that last thing on Ella, there's some African. And I'm like thinking about the place I grew up and how they would treat people of color, and I'm like, I don't know how any African got into my bloodline, immediately went and ordered an Ancestry DNA test, and I'm waiting to get it back to find out if there's any African in my bloodline. Because if there's not, somebody has some explaining to do.
Right.
Are we-
I'm gonna tell you right now what you're gonna find out.
What?
That you are 100% that bitch.
Man, and
Yeah.
I thought you might have had something useful for me.
No, keep us in the loop for that one. But like you said,
Of
though,
course I'm going to keep you in the loop. Come on.
I would love to
This
find
is
out
too
he was
good.
black. We're gonna like dive deep into it. He was black is the next episode.
Hey, I'd be fine with it. I'm looking at my family tree and I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? One half is hillbilly, the other half is Polish.
Yeah. No, but it's
Why
fun
does
doing. Well, you did your ancestry, Hugh. Like you just dive deeper into those, and you're like, "Holy shit!" Like I'm diving deeper into this. And
No, I just spit in a tube and put
Oh.
it in the mail. I haven't done anything
no,
else.
oh, that's so cool. Like I literally, unfortunately, my grandfather has passed on, but I found the ship that his mother came over on, like during the early 1900s. So I wish I could have told him that, but I did find out, and I told this to him before he died, which tell the little Catholic boy he had two older sisters, and then it was him, and then it was his younger sister. His parents had him out of wedlock, which he did not like hearing that. But I had to tell him that, so that was pretty fascinating. But what I'm getting at was kind of cool finding more about my great uncle, which I thought was really fascinating. Like it was all the balls in the world. I was like, I have this guy's number. I'm just gonna call him, and I told him who I was. And literally, I can hear his wife in the background. He's like, "Who are you talking to? Someone I don't know. Bug off." I'm like, oh my god, this guy's so cool. I was like, sorry if I'm keeping you for something. He's like, no, I want to talk to you more. This is great. I'm like, okay, cool, dude. But it was probably all the action he got all week, but it was pretty cool. Well, fuck you.
What kind of call was this?
Just getting more about who my uncle was, my great uncle, like just getting more information on
I mean, were you like, you're 98 years old. I love older men.
Well, now we know why they call him Jack.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck all. No, but if I had this information to share with my grandmother, she would want to know more because she didn't know anything about her brother after he died. She just knows she hated Japanese people for the rest of her life. I was like, Grandma, you have to give him a chance. She's like, fucking hate the Japs. I'm like, oh, okay, Grandma.
A title I can't use.
Nope. You want to use it though, don't you?
I would love to, but we don't want to derail anybody's careers here.
Yeah.
No.
Who wants to go next? Corbs, Kev?
Next, that doesn't matter. Well, I mean, I guess we can touch on the Super Bowl. I know Jack is real happy about the touching on the Super Bowl.
Because God hates Jack.
God does hate Jack. I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't really watch it because I didn't really give a shit. I flipped back and forth. I was actually really kind of just watching some of the commercials.
What was
So
your favorite commercial though, Corbs?
I like the movie commercials. I like the Flash one was kind of cool.
Mm.
I did like the Fast X, so Fast and Furious 10. That's coming out with Jason Momoa.
As a bad guy.
Yeah. So that's a little.
Doesn't that mean that like 2 movies from now he'll be a good guy? I don't watch this franchise, but I feel like that's all it
Aquaman.
is.
Yeah, he'll end up being part of the team or whatever.
Well, they better hurry because apparently Fast 11 is the final one. So
Well, I mean, John.
Oh, how fast 10 was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're ending
that was
on an odd number.
No,
no,
it'll
this
keep
is the
going. Don't worry.
beginning of the end.
Don't worry about it. It'll keep going.
Jesus Christ.
As long as as long as it's making money and
I love the franchise. I do. I think you make 20,000 of them for all I care.
right.
Honestly, this is probably the stupidest question, but what are they about? I've never seen 1 minute of one of them.
Vin Diesel and family.
Driving
Family's everything.
cars.
Yeah, it's
Well,
the first couple start out as he's a bad guy. They're stealing stereo parts, or
just
some
whatever.
shit, whatever parts
Yeah.
or whatever, and they're selling them on the black market to make money to fund their racing The second
Yeah.
one,
And now they're secret agents, aren't they?
yeah. Now they're working for the government. It's
So the premise is that it's all about street racers and how they, how they're not typically doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're finding the money any way they can. That's how the story started, but it fell apart very quickly. It didn't take only a couple of movies before all of a sudden the storyline was like, well, we used it up. But what happened was that they ended up with a different writer and a different directors, and these guys came from like comic book world, and they turned it into this comic book-esque story, and it just took off from there. And I'm telling you right now, if what I see happening in the future is that Fast and the Furious, our heroes are going to end up in Marvel. This is where this is going to end up. It's going to end up as a comic book. It's going to go from a movie to a comic book, and Marvel's going to end up with the brand. Yeah, the exact opposite way.
I can sum up the entire franchise for you in one sentence.
Yeah.
Driving fast in increasingly more ridiculous places.
Yeah, exactly.
What did Paul Walker do?
Died. He died.
He was one of the originals. He was one of the originals. And
he started out as
undercover cop.
Undercover cop trying to break into Dominic's, which is Vin Diesel's crew. Fell in love with his sister. The second one, he is
Second one, they're not even. No, I'm jumping ahead. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, you
Paul
got.
Walker is a, I guess, disavowed cop. I don't know what you would.
Yeah.
He's no longer with them. He's actually on the run. The third one, which is
Third one doesn't have any of them in it except for Vin Diesel at the very end.
Vin Diesel has a cameo at the end of that one, so none of them are in it. The fourth one, Paul Walker is a cop again. He's working with like the FBI or something like that, and Dom, which is Vin Diesel's character, comes back.
We'll be here all night if we talk about.
Seriously.
That's fine.
It's entertainment. It's really just entertainment for entertainment's sake.
Franchise.
That's all it is.
Yeah, it's a good franchise. It's a good franchise. I mean, if it's something you really want to delve into, I mean, it's definitely something
it's fun.
Watching.
Mindless fun.
I went and watched last one with theirs, so it's a pretty fun. It's like fun action comedy
craziness.
So, yeah, and they kind of bring characters back throughout the run from other spots in the movie series. They come back in eventually, and they play a part in it. And
all of the bad guys become good guys at some point.
Some of it becomes a little far fetched and stuff like that.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Like flying a fucking car through outer space.
Exactly.
But the one last thing I want to say about Fast and Furious, we saw a very attractive woman make her mainstream debut in Fast and the Furious.
Michelle Rodriguez?
No. She was famous before Fast and the Furious.
Who do you got?
Gal Gadot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah. Yes, she is. She's in a couple episodes, and I was reading online, and they're saying that she may be back for this one.
Oh no, she died.
Yeah.
The cast died, and they're all back.
Han. Come on, cast.
They explain. Well, whatever.
Yeah. This isn't the
we
Fast
need
and
a
Furious
whole
episode.
show dedicated to Fast and Furious. I'm telling you right now, because I can go on and on and on and on. Just like Corbs. We can just go on.
There's your spin-off show.
I mean, to get back to the Super Bowl, I mean, the holding call at the end, I mean, I watched it. I mean, they'd let that shit go all game long, and then you call it in that spot. That's my only.
Didn't the player come out who got it and say that he was holding him?
He did.
Yes. James Bradbury did come out and talk about that.
Yeah,
however, like
he owned up to it and said it was a holding call. You know, he was trying to gain leverage to get back into position. He owned up to it, and for him, congratulations. You own up to it. More power to you. Even the Eagles coach said, "Look, it wasn't just that one play. It was there was a lot of things that happened that we didn't do well. We could have done and didn't do that attributed to it. It wasn't just one play. So,
when that happened, I remember I was at my parents' house and literally I was like Clark Griswold on Christmas Vacation. I was like, fucking cocksucker, son of a bitch balls. And like literally I was screaming at the TV. And my mom was like, go to the other room if you're going to use that mouth. I'm like,
Go to your room.
I was like, fuck you. I was like, you're not even watching the game. You're on your iPad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I guess the thing was is they let a lot of things go, and then you called that penalty there. It changed. It made the game. It changed the game. It ended the game right there. All I was going to do was basically run the clock out.
And you can nitpick this to the days come home. Like when Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball, he was face masked too. They didn't call that, but whatever. They actually had a meme online. You guys probably saw it with that guy that was holding the Chiefs player. They said, will you hold me or something like that on Valentine's Day as a meme. I'm like, oh, come on. They really had to put that on there.
Yep. So that's it for me. I'm done.
All right.
No more to talk about.
I'm just happy that my friend Paul loaned me his PS4. So
you have another friend named Paul?
No.
Oh.
I don't have any friends named Paul, actually. I know a couple of assholes named Paul. So that I could play The Last of Us and see just how closely the show is following the game. And I am so impressed. The game is freaking fantastic. And I like it as much as I like the show, and I couldn't be happier. So there you go. That's what's got me geeked right now.
All right. Look, it's great. We're not doing any of the normal segments today because we have something special, but we're still filling out the show notes.
What's got you geeked, Paul?
Oh, I'm getting
going to
there.
do it.
Trust me. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just commenting that like I'm literally filling out the show notes anyway. I have two things that have me geeked. If you'll indulge me. One, as you guys might notice, is draped over my shoulder. I'm turned the wrong way. This is actually, well, it's a championship title belt. This was my Valentine's present from Kristen. She opens it up for me, hands it to me, and I almost cried. I wanted a title belt for a while. Almost, because I actually didn't. But I want you guys to see something. You guys have all seen, I know, because I sent you the picture, but I'm going to try and do a close-up of it on here on what the name is on the title belt when it's not upside down.
There you go.
There it is. That's my dad's name. As you guys know, I lost my dad earlier this year. And this was something that I'd mentioned to you guys when we got together for the first pay-per-view. And I was like, one thing I really want to do to memorialize him, I want to get a replica title belt with his name on it. I now have one. It's not the one I envisioned, but Kristen went out of her way. She overheard that, went out of her way, found a place on Etsy to have it done. This is leather and embroidery. And It's fantastically well done. It's awesome. I have since Tuesday been walking around the house with it draped over my shoulder. I've done the Roman Reigns a couple of times where I just raised it up, and I got to use the left arm because the right one doesn't go that high anymore. I even made Kristen drape it over her shoulder. I can't post that picture without her permission. So
you may or may not have been wearing it at work today. Nobody really knows.
Except for the fact that I couldn't hide this under my shirt if I wanted to.
Are you saying goodnight to the kids and like when you're going to bed at night, like goodnight, Kristen, and then you lay it right by your bed every night? It's like you got to bring it with me.
No, it actually stays right down here by my desk where all my other memorabilia for my dad is. It stays down here. But yeah, so for once I get to be the champ, and I can walk into a room and say the champ is here, as long as they don't read the name on it, since it's not me. But that's my first thing. The second one,
there you go, trying to make your name on your dad's name, just like Cody Rhodes.
Just like half the roster now.
That was good. That was good. I'll give him that. That was
good. This is big, but what I have next is more important, and it kind of fundamentally changes the dynamic for the show.
You're leaving.
I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm done. It's all yours now. I'm out.
Finally.
I quit.
You were probably getting fired anyway. Oh, Jesus, you threw me off. No. So seriously, I I've talked to you guys. I don't know if I've said it online, but I'm making an actual effort to try and get a little bit healthier, like actually get exercise daily. We moved our treadmill down to the basement now. It's right over there. And so I'm trying, like on my lunch break, I go on, I bust out usually a half an hour or more on there. Well, now that it's in the basement and I have the TV here with the Fire Stick, I thought, it'll help me stay on it if I start watching a show. So Tuesday, yesterday for us and Tuesday for everybody else who's watching it whenever, I turned on Netflix, found a TV show, and began watching it.
No.
Starting with the pilot episode of Supernatural.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
And I've been holding on to this. Yes.
And what do you, I mean, this is too early,
Is it
but
any
what do you
good?
think?
It's good. I like it. It kept me for the whole time. Threw me off. I never realized that it was Ellie Larder that played Jessica, the girlfriend, Sam's girlfriend.
Yeah. What is it?
That's Ellie Larder.
I thought that was
No, Adrian Padalecki.
yes, Adrian
Whatever her name.
Padalecki.
Yes. That's what I meant. They're pretty much interchangeable. But yeah, as soon as she came out in the Halloween costume, I was like, wait a minute, it's Mockingbird. And then I realized how short that skirt was, and I was pleased.
Okay.
Paul, though, you should do an episode of Geek Pod from your treadmill, though. I'll pay you $1.
I could not do that. No.
Anyway, the other, I'm all invested now. What was the other thing?
That was the other thing.
Oh,
That was the
okay.
huge thing. It completely changes the dynamic of the show.
Well, I'm going to tell you something because I've been thinking about this a lot because we're doing our rewatch. We're in season 13 now. I was watching episodes before I came and sat down here. Something I realized is for some reason the show, I think it's gotten a bad rap as being a show for women. What you're going to see that's not true, but also you're going to find that Dean Winchester, Jensen Ackles plays Dean Winchester. He really is a man's man. I mean, he talked about it in a recent episode that I watched, and he was going through some shit. His brother asked, well, how are you going to get through this? Because he wanted to talk about it. And he's like, the same way I get through everything else. Booze, broads, and bacon, I think is what he said. I mean, the funny thing is, for all the shit I get about this show, at least Jack, I don't know what you're into outside of this, so I'm not excluding you. I just don't know. But you other three, I think Dean Winchester would be your best friend if you hung out with him in real life. Such a cool guy. It's definitely not girly at all.
No. And he is definitely the douchey older brother. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's practically you, Paul.
I'll take that as a compliment.
No, it looks like No,
I
it looks
especially
like a great show.
loved like the whole interaction when they were pretending to be federal agents, and Sam kicks Dean in the knee, and then as they're walking away, he does the whole Big Brother fucking whack in the back of the head. I got a good chuckle out of that.
It is a fucking awesome show. I am so glad to hear that. I can't wait to get updates from you.
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll come in bursts because I'm going to try and if I'm doing this 4 days a week, I'm probably going to hit at least 4 episodes a week. So hopefully it comes along. But that was a really cool episode. It went in places I really wasn't expecting, which was cool. So, but that's all I got. So
that was world changing enough, wasn't it?
Right.
How many years? How many years have I been trying to get one of you to watch the show?
And it happened organically. Look at that. So, all right. So here's what I'm thinking, guys. Like I said, it's not going to be a normal episode. Like that was basically the last of what we normally do on Geek Pod. I'm sure at some point we're going to come back to talking about that too. But from here on out, we're going to start our Valentine's Day special. We're going to go to break. We're going to come back and we are going to start answering the questions that you guys submitted to us for whatever fucking reason to get relationship advice from the boys.
Did you see what your wife and Kelly were saying on Facebook just before the show?
Yeah, we're going to be. Wait, is there more?
I don't know if there's more, but I mean, she was just like, "Who's answering the questions?" And when Kelly told her that we were, she was like, "Good God."
Yes, which is perfect.
I almost chimed in and said that's the point, but
Right, I almost did the same thing.
I'm gonna end up single. You watch.
With a broken
know.
TV.
More broken TVs. All right, guys, gals, stick with us. We'll be back for the relationship advice. Watch this commercial. Looking for the hottest new comic on the shelf or a keyback issue to complete your run? How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore, located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking. Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics. Welcome back. Okay, so it's time. We put the call out to everybody, asking for people to submit questions for our relationship advice column. This is the second time we've done it, even though Laura is saying on Facebook it's the third time. I think her memory's going. And as we did it the last time, Hugh and I have collected the Hugh and I, not you and I. Have collected the questions, and we're gonna bounce back and forth between reading the questions, and we just want you guys to weigh in on this. Jack, you're the veteran here. You've done this before. You the other two not so much as your first time.
now I think it's important to state that we have to be respectful of people that wrote to us. I know we make jokes, and I'm sure we'll make jokes, but let's not make fun of anybody. It's important to be respectful.
And there's that. Yeah.
I just felt with this crew it had to be said.
I'm not gonna pick on anybody unless it's one of you five jackasses.
Oh.
One of you five? Are you
Five?
picking on yourself?
Sometimes it has to happen, Jack.
You gotta touch yourself.
How many fingers am I holding up, Kevin?
Sometimes
Five.
nobody catches the fact that I'm being an idiot.
We all do, Kev.
Okay. Dr. Hugh, why don't you start us off? Start right from the
All right.
top.
Let me pull up the Word doc you sent me. All right. Dear GeekPod, I'm a longtime listener to your show. I have a medical condition that forces me to spend long stretches on the toilet every day. While most people would play on their phone, I'm also legally blind, so that is a challenge as well. Your podcast has entertained me while in the bathroom for a few years now. I especially appreciate that the episodes are so long that each one lasts me almost 2 days of bathroom time. That means a lot when you spend almost 2 hours a day on the toilet. My relationship question is partially related to that. I have almost no feeling in my body from the chest down. That is part of the reason for my marathon bathroom sessions. My husband has really been pushing me to let him have anal sex. He wants it to be his Valentine's Day gift and says I shouldn't be afraid of it since I can't feel it anyway. And maybe he is partially right. I wouldn't feel a thing, so it wouldn't hurt. My issue is that part of my body is tied to my medical condition, which also affects my self-confidence and self-esteem. It is hard enough for me to feel sexy to begin with, given my issues. How do I make him understand that this is more than being afraid of it hurting? I have a permanent toilet ring indent on my butt, and I don't even like him looking at it. I need your help. Signed, Stuck on the John in Flushing, Michigan. I think they were being cheeky there. Oh, shit. I didn't even do that on purpose.
Oh, that's great. All right, who wants to weigh in first on this one?
I don't mind going.
Go ahead.
I don't mind going. I mean, you know, it's you just got to be honest. You know, I mean that's pulling from my own relationship with my wife. You know, we've been together for a long time. You just got to be honest with each other. I mean, it's just a matter of. I mean, he's being honest, saying there's something he's interested in, but you gotta just say, look, this is, you know, it bothers me. This is the reason it bothers me, and understand that you're together. You're going to be together, and you just need to give the honest reasons why, and you know, and why it's not for you, and it might be more. I mean, she's not saying this. It was a woman that wrote this in. I think you said it was a she.
Let me go back and look.
It was. You said her husband.
It sounds like
Oh.
it is.
It's
Well,
a female.
I heard
Well,
husband, but
I mean, I heard
that-
husband, but I mean,
not necessarily.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think she.
so just, I mean, there's a real concern here, and you're concerned. Just make sure that he understands that.
Kev, I agree with. I'm gonna say I agree with that. You have to be honest. If he loves you, he's gonna respect you for being straight up honest with him about it.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot to do with the medical condition. If you're not comfortable with that, just tell him that you're not comfortable with it. If he loves you, and obviously you're married, so there's love there, he's going to respect that. And he should know that if that's the case, if it's something that you don't want to do, and you tell him that you don't want to do it for a certain reason, he should respect that and drop that. Don't keep pushing that issue. Don't keep saying, well, this is what I want. This, you should understand it's not something that they're comfortable with. And if they're not comfortable with it, respect that.
It's got to be something you both want.
Yeah, it's the respect factor. Like anyone can be liked, but it takes a special person to be respected at the end of the day. Because like we're not getting any younger, and we've all been in relationships in our youth, and as we're getting older, you want sort of the same things, but also your priorities change too. With my current relationship, I was straight up what I wanted right from the start, and so was she. So like you are honest with the person, they will respect you. If they're not, then they're not for you. So you just have to respect one another.
Does that mean you had a list of demands when you started this relationship? I am really curious as to what those were.
I want to hear both lists, actually.
Yeah, we both are similar. We both knew we wanted to get married, and we wanted children, and we had to respect one another. And we all agreed on those three things.
Where did the butt sex come in?
It didn't.
No.
So we're getting a little off topic here, but I got to ask this question, Jack. Does that mean there's going to be a wedding in the future?
Maybe, but not anytime soon.
I don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about Jack.
Okay, I'm just he mentioned it.
I don't mind talking about Emily, but I don't want to talk about Jack.
Kev loves me so much. I love this. What do you want, fucker?
I just want to make sure we're going to be invited to the wedding.
So I have a lighter spin to put on this, but I want to hear whatever Paul and or Hugh has to say first.
You want to go first, Paul?
No. You go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate here because you guys have already made the compassionate argument here. I want to kind of look at it from the other side. And I'm not saying that this is what I think or what I would do in the situation, but this is what occurs to me. Now, I understand that she's not comfortable with this and she doesn't want to do this. I also wonder, what has he sacrificed to make their relationship work? Is it worth, I mean, this may be a one-time thing. It's something he's never done it. He wants to try it. Should he have the expectation that since they are married and together forever, that she will give him something that he really wants at least once? I'm just saying, I could see somebody kind of, I've made the comment to my wife before. Now, I'm going to be completely straight. We don't have a very kinky sex life. We're very happy with what works. But I've said, if you came and you said you wanted to try something, I mean, you're stuck with me. You know, if I'm the only guy you're supposed to be with for the rest of your life, if you really wanted to try something, I would try it at least once. You know, even if it's something that I would never want to do myself. Now, I'm sure there are limits to that, okay? But I would at least consider it because if our marriage is going to continue, she doesn't have another outlet for that. You know, I mean, when you say no to somebody, they tend to go find what they want somewhere else. So
Yep.
I'm not saying that she should let him violate her, but I do wonder if she has thought about anyone but herself in this situation.
Okay.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
Paul?
I find it very hard because it's been already said this episode that I'm the asshole in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I find it very hard to take this all completely seriously. Like there was like just when you were speaking alone, Kev, there was so many things. I think you might have noticed the stupid smirk across my face, and then I had to take a drink because it's a serious quandary, and of course, you know, my mind goes to the inane like toilet humor.
Because
no
you're
pun
12.
intended. Yes.
Because you're 12.
Yes, I am the biggest 12-year-old you've ever seen.
Yeah, case in point, hat on backwards. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and then draping a pretend wrestling belt over my shoulder.
Yeah.
As a 45-year-old man. Yeah. Who doesn't get paid for it? But really, I mean, and again, I don't speak for GeekPod, I speak just for myself. I mean, she can't feel it. I mean, why doesn't he just, you know? Maybe he already has.
No.
We don't know.
No,
Are
I
you
don't agree with that.
suggesting
No,
you
no,
raped
don't
her?
say it. Don't
All right.
outright say it.
Now
No,
let's
I
just.
don't.
I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end this topic, and we can go on to the next one. You ready? Here's the lightest way I can think of to put a spin on this, and it answers absolutely everything. Every single one of us has already mentioned.
Except-
All she has to do for Valentine's Day is to go and buy a fleshlight butt version and give it to him for Valentine's Day. There you go, honey. There's your butt. Have at it.
Good point.
Yeah,
that
I
is the
can't-
best answer right there.
Yeah.
He gets what he wants. She gets her peace of mind.
Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy.
All right, all
So-
right, all right.
So that's a butt light? Is that okay?
Listen, they have all
Or a
different
flesh butt?
varieties. I looked it up while we were talking.
Sure you
There
I'm
are
sure you're
all
well
sorts of
versed in this,
varieties.
Kevin.
All
Well,
I don't
I
want
mean,
to
varieties.
bookmarks are easy to pull up when you're doing something else, Paul.
Well, I already had the page loaded.
I don't want to see your
Perfect.
cookies, Kev. I don't want to see those cookies.
Oh, I'm gonna get some special cookies.
Oh
Cookies.
man.
Oh man.
Special
Really good
cookies.
place.
Yep. I knew you
Have
were
special
gonna write that down.
Cookies, yeah. What the fuck?
Next topic.
All right. Okay. Dear Geek Pod, I hope you are all well. I discovered you guys in the past year or so. I was wondering, how do I get my boyfriend to propose? Took a quiz on social media that told me I was going to get engaged this year, but nothing has happened yet. I reported them to Facebook for false information and lodged a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. I also contacted the developers of the quiz and demanded they fix this and get my boyfriend to propose, or I would trash them all over social media. They had the nerve to tell me to calm down and that it's only February. And if he hasn't asked me by December 31st to take a long, hard look at why I am relying on Facebook quizzes for life advice. The nerve of these people. Anyway, so the next thing I did was reach out to your podcast for help. What do I do now? Signed, I posted candy-coated strawberries to my Facebook wall for a reason. And no location.
I'm not going first.
Corbs, you want to go first?
I fucking knew it. All right. Well, I don't even know how to respond to that, I guess. I mean, again, you got to respect the other person's mindset.
We
don't
don't
know.
really have enough details to know the mindset here.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I think it for me basically is if you're with somebody, the ring shouldn't matter. If you're there, if you're with somebody with everything that you have, then that part of that should matter. Because I've seen it. Hell, I come from a broken home. My mom and dad were together. My dad cheated on my mom numerous times that she knows of. I'm assuming it was even more than that. They found out that they were better apart than they were together. They co-parent very well, or at least they did, until we became our own young adults and started fucking up our own lives. But my suggestion is if you're in a relationship and you know you're in a relationship, that shouldn't matter. That ring shouldn't matter to you that much. So.
Jack?
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, so like it doesn't have to be like follow a book, go reading from left to right. Like 1 month we're dating, 6 months we're dating, 1 year we're dating, 5 years we're dating. Okay, now we get proposed to on February 14th, 2023. So it just needs to happen organically. When it happens, it happens. Like you want to be happy with whatever happens. Like if you're expecting a proposal, it's like, yeah, like I get that. If you're together and like you guys are happy and you've talked about marriage, and that makes perfect sense. Like you might get married down the road, but like you're not you shouldn't go to sleep at night. Oh my God, is he gonna propose to me? I'm like, it'll happen when it happens. Like it's got to be organic. If they really generally love each other, and if marriage is something you both want, then yeah, that's important. Like what Corb said, the ring shouldn't matter. I come from a home where my parents have been married for 44 plus years. So like they've been married a long time. However, when my dad proposed to my mom, he was actually kind of funny with it. He was like, "You want it?" Because they both knew they were going to be forever. They understood that. However, some people aren't, and it's unfortunate. But like a ring shouldn't matter about these things, like what Corb says. But it shouldn't have a timetable on it. That's what I'm getting at.
Kev, before the two
Yeah,
jackasses get involved here.
No, I mean there's one sure way to make sure that a guy never leaves you, and
Get knocked up.
Actually there's two ways. Well, no, that's not it. There's
Don't
actually
matter.
2 ways to make sure a guy never leaves you as a woman. Be the best he's ever had, and feed him very, very well. There's 2 ways. That's it, and they're both in the midsection.
And if you feed them way too well, you might have a harder time finding what's out there underneath the midsection anyway.
Well, but that actually works too, because then nobody else wants him.
You'll have
Or you can
diabetes.
just be a consummate asshole and no one's going to want him anyway.
Well, I mean, so the crazy thing is that my wife and I, neither one of us wanted to get married or wanted to have kids. It was not on either of our minds. We were together 11 years before we decided to get married, and by that time we'd bought a house together. We've been living together. We shared expenses. Everything was just better with the 2 of us together than it would have been with either of us alone. It just worked. So then we got married, and now we've been together almost 30 years. In May 9th will be 30 years that we've been, since the anniversary of our first date. So
Nice.
I mean, we weren't looking for it. Neither one of us were looking for that. It just happened. What goes in the back of my head when she says, I'm looking for this guy to get, to propose to me, is what kind of, how is she brought up? Who is she around? Where did this come from? Where did it come from that she has to be married? That's not something. It's part of human nature to want to be with someone. This whole have to be married and have kids, whatever, family, perfect, whatever. That's something that's forced on us by our environment, the people we're around. I would take a serious look at that and find out, why why do you feel that way? Why not just find a way to be happy instead of thinking that your happiness is tied to, a situation,
A piece of jewelry.
Yeah, a piece of jewelry or a piece of paper. I mean, that's really all it is. If you really want to get down to it, you actually get fined for being married. You don't get the tax breaks. You don't get the freedom. You don't get to, do whatever you want, whenever you want. There's give and take after you're married, and you don't get that before. Now, maybe you don't care. Maybe that's not something that you're interested in, but there's pluses and minuses to it. And I think your environmental situation might need an examination. And if the relationship you're in is worth it, Jesus, just kick back and enjoy it.
Right. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're missing a lot of factors. We don't know how long these people have been together. We don't know if it's their first go round. You know what I mean? I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe this guy's hesitant because he's come from a shitty relationship before. And I mean, that shit can scar you for life.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I went through it, and that's why it took me 5 years to propose to Kristen, because I mean, I'd been through enough bullshit before that I didn't want to make that leap. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And plus, I kind of, the get out of jail free card is always there to run away. But I don't think he's wrong. I mean, unless they've been together for fucking a decade and there's a bunch of kids involved and stuff already. We don't know. But and it's all society that pushes this on these poor women, that like, this is what you have to do. Yeah. You need to be in a relationship, and then you need to get engaged, and then you need to get married, and then now you need to have the kids. Like, you don't. You can do it however the fuck you want to. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys can just live together for the rest of your life. You don't need a piece of fucking jewelry or a piece of paper to tell you that you're doing it right. Do what makes you happy.
I agree.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Well, you know what, Paul? I am going to, of course, maybe I'm going to be a counterpoint here all the time, but I disagree. I agree with everything everyone has said, but it kind of goes back to the first question about expectations. Now, we have a lot of different expectations going on here. We have the expectations that are within this relationship, and that depends on the history, if it was ever brought up or anything like that. We also have a human being's expectations. Now, for maybe society put that idea in her head, but for all we know, since she was a pretty little girl in a pink dress, she's been dreaming about getting married. It's been a driving force in her life. You say, well, that's wrong because society. I mean, you're not wrong that society puts that in their people's heads, but that doesn't invalidate how this person feels. And Correct. Maybe this is something they've been moving towards their entire life. So, I without more information about the situation, it's really hard to say. But depending on those facts, I don't think that it's unreasonable to have that as a goal. I think that there's logic in saying just kick back and enjoy the relationship, but I also think that there's a lot of presumption in that statement as well. So it's kind of like one of those things, it's right, but it's also kind of wrong at the same time, depending on the situation and who we're dealing with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I always tend to look at the other side of things, but I just wonder, depending on the situation, is this reasonable?
Yeah.
Would we all agree that maybe they need to talk to each other instead of looking outside the relationship for whatever should be happening inside the relationship?
100%.
We don't know that they haven't, but Facebook is not the source for what you should be doing in your relationship. What happens between you two is, regardless of what's going on in the relationship, that's going to be true no matter who you are.
Because like what Paul said, these two questions we've had so far, they're good questions. However, there's still a lot of scenarios that we haven't touched on.
Yeah.
You're not touching me tonight, Jack.
Yeah, you were lucky that no.
You're damn right I'm lucky. I'm way over here.
So the last thing on it.
Swipe.
Your feelings are valid.
Don't touch me.
But maybe we don't need that. So just, Emily, relax, and it'll happen.
What? You idiot? Oh, you are a fucking dick. You are an asshole.
Oh, it's priceless.
Oh, you are funny.
I'm so yes. I'm just joking. We are never going to announce either on purpose or by accident. Like I just pretended like I did that.
You can't
Who
say
that?
that you'll never do it on accident, Paul.
I don't
I
believe you
won't.
for a second. I've known you long enough. No. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna take a drink.
You've known Paul long enough to know your girlfriend wouldn't write him for relationship advice.
God,
No,
I
I've
hope
known him
not.
long enough to be an asshole.
Okay. Let's keep it moving.
Douchebag.
All right, my turn. That's that one. Last one. Hello, GeekPod. I've been watching your show for a couple of years now. Love your style and insight. I'm hoping you can. Yeah, I know. What? Paul, you made fetch work. How did you do that? I'm hoping you can help me out here. How do I convince my partner that dressing like a furry for sex is a normal and part of a healthy sexual relationship? Signed, Scarlet Lips the Third.
Jack, please enlighten us.
So,
you drew the
yeah.
short straw on that one, man. I'm just working my way around.
It's something that you have to be open with if that's something you are into, like the furries and all that. If you want to do something that with your partner, then you, like we said, it's like trust again. If that's something that you want to do with your partner, do you want to dress like a rabbit? The other one dressed like a tortoise? I don't know. If that's whatever you're into, then why not? So
the tortoise and the pubic hair.
The tortoise and the pubic hair. There you go.
That's Christ.
Yeah, what rhymes first? I don't know. If that's something you're into, then more power to you. Like honestly, it's short and sweet. Trust. It's something if you want to do it, great. If not, then there's plenty of other things. If not, then that's not the partner for you.
So do we know, is this okay? It actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man writing it about their partner. It doesn't make any difference. So I'm going to completely leave every other possibility out of this, and I'm just going to address exactly what the question was. One of them wants to be a furry, the other one doesn't understand, isn't looking for it. That's the way I'm going to approach this. The furry needs to get an outfit that really accentuates the way they look, how they look, whatever they have that is the most appealing to their partner. Who can resist a cute little bunny rabbit with a nice ass?
So, Kev, you would be an Oompa Loompa.
I'm just saying, they want to dress up like a furry, be a fucking sexy ass motherfucking furry. And see what happens. Oh, and deny them sex for a week, maybe two.
That'll help. Yes.
That'll help.
Yeah.
That'll help. Come bouncing in the room with that little cottontail and nothing underneath. See what happens.
You'll get Peter all right.
Exactly.
Hopping down that bunny trail.
Right. I guess I'm next. I don't really want to be next, but I guess I'm next.
Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck. Communication for that. That is just explain it. There's a reason why you like what you like. Everybody's got something that they like, don't like, want to try. But if you're willing to communicate and tell the other partner what it is you want and what it is you like about that stuff, and you dress like a sexy bunny rabbit, then I'm sure it'll work.
Or a bad dragon.
Something.
I knew you had a bookmarked folder. Well, okay.
Funny. It's funny you knew exactly what I was talking about.
Of course I did. Man, I don't know what can be said here that hasn't already been said, but I'm going to try. First thing I'd like to know, was this known going into it? Now, you still have to go back to that whole, your partner has to be willing to, explore things that interest you as well, because you're the person that they're with. I mean, that would be kind of a shock. A guy saying he wants to have anal sex is not a shock. All guys want to have anal sex, at least once, or at least most guys. Saying that you want him to be the giraffe to your antelope could be kind of a shock to the system. And I can understand somebody getting taken aback by that at first, at least. I wonder if what we're hearing was just the first conversation, if it's recent or if it's something that was brought up a while back. All parties have had time to think, and maybe they've talked about it more. Because I personally can't imagine if my wife came to me and said, here are these suits, I want you to wear them and have sex with me. At first, I might just double check to make sure that, she hasn't stroked out or something, and that she's okay, because this is not something that I was expecting. But I once I had time to think about it, I don't think I would turn that down. Only because, I mean, this is a little different than other requests. This isn't necessarily going to hurt anybody or stick something in a place they might not want it stuck. This is putting on a suit. It's like having sex with your clothes on, except the sex or the clothes are a little furry. I mean, it's like your furry tuxedo.
God
Yeah,
damn you guys! How many titles are we gonna have?
It doesn't seem so bad to me.
I'm gonna go in an opposite direction,
Shock.
and I'm gonna say my advice is to not do it, because that shit's got to be hot and sweaty. Like,
Ooh.
just no. Ugh.
So wait, when you have sex, you don't get hot and sweaty?
Not the
You get
same.
you get
Not
swamp
the same.
ass.
I mean, 1 minute, man, would understand that.
3 minutes.
But
And
I think you
I
gotta
still
think
get
of it-
sweaty because
Dude,
I'm fat. I sweat when I eat.
Imagine the dress up characters at Chuck E. Cheese all in a gangbang and how sweaty they get underneath those
Ugh.
things. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's
You
no.
find that on the internet somewhere, I guarantee.
I'm
I'm
sure.
sure.
Is that why the
Sure.
Chuck E.
I have a
Cheese
bookmark.
thing went all anorexic looking? Ugh. Yeah. Oh,
Oh man.
damn.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Kev, to directly respond to you, as it is well known, so that I can always bring you guys interesting stuff. I browse 4chan a lot. There's nothing in your bookmarks I probably haven't seen.
Do we feel like we wrap that one up?
Yep.
I think we have time to get one
Yeah.
more in before we go to commercial.
Okay.
As soon as I get the thing here. Okay. Oh,
Oh,
Geek Pod
Oh.
darlings.
darlings.
It's important for you to first understand that I'm a Wiccan practitioner.
Wiccan. Okay.
Okay.
I'm very good at what I do. I use my abilities to help, not harm, as the Dark Mother instructs. Recently, my spouse has become irrationally angry when I use my gifts for others. He has previously had no problem with my rituals, but now that I'm using them to help other people, it's a problem. Help me make him understand that my gifts are not just for him. Signed, Little Miss Scarrow.
Mhm.
Back to me
Well,
going first.
Yeah.
Or no, Jack, go ahead. No,
Jack,
no,
if you've
please,
got something,
please,
feel free to jump right in.
please.
All right. Yeah, no. It's just all about what we talked about in the beginning. Like a lot of these repeat themselves. As long as you have that open communication in the beginning of a relationship, that this is something that you really intend to do. And then if your spouse said, "Oh yeah, I'm fine with that," but now if your spouse is going against that, then it's like, well, we already had this discussion, and then you said you were okay with that. But if it's something you discussed before, then it should be fine. I agree with that. So that's it. Just a open communication and trust again. Go ahead, Kev. I'm
You
done.
got anything, Corbs? You want me to go?
Go ahead, Kev.
All right. So, all right. So here's my problem with all of it. You use your powers to snatch a partner, and you imbued them onto yourself, and now you're upset that they're upset that you want to use your powers on someone else, and you're surprised.
Okay.
Wait, Did they say that they used that
They were
to
using
get
it to
them?
help other
Yes,
people.
they did say that the spouse is angry when they are using their powers to help someone else, meaning that the implied meaning is that they were using their powers for the spouse, for the significant other.
I thought by the way you said that it was like they used their powers to get that spouse.
Well, this is exactly where my head went. You've been using your abilities, your talents, and the other person in the relationship is used to the benefit of those. So you set yourself up for this. Now you're reaping the rewards. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Corbs?
Yeah, to kind of play on what Kevin was saying, I mean, if you were okay, and same thing with Jack is, you know, you use them to get the spouse, and now you're helping other people use it. You should be able to tell your partner or your significant other, whatever it might be, everything. I mean, if there's something kooky going on there, like otherworldly, or you're trying to hook up with somebody else, then be honest with that person. Be honest with the other person. You know, that's my biggest thing with that, is just be honest. Well, you know, if you're just doing it, like if it's a side, what if it's like something that you're doing on the side or whatever, you're helping people with whatever, then just tell your partner that. If it's something you're doing something against their back or whatever, then you need to be upfront with them and be honest and tell them that it's something that you're looking to maybe get out of that relationship or out of that situation. So
My question is this: what kind of magic is it? Because if it's sex magic, then I completely understand. You know, but honey, I'm helping him. Yeah, with his cock. I mean, mine. You're helping me with mine.
Well, if I understand it, a Wiccan is basically someone that sees the future or senses the future, whether it's their own or someone else's.
I think it goes a lot deeper than that.
It does, but that's the basic. I mean, rather than needing a potion or a spell or an incantation, you know, whatever the case may be, as far as a witch is concerned, a Wiccan is someone that just has an innate ability and uses.
I thought it was a religion.
Yeah, my understanding is Wiccanism is basic. It's very much like what a witch would do, but only for good. So, I mean, I know Wiccans, and I know they do rituals and things like that.
I think it's more chaotic neutral than it is good or evil.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be, you know, do no harm is I think their first rule. The rule of three. I forget the rule of three. Like, dude, or it's, you know, whatever you do will come back on you 3 times, which implies that, you know, if you do something bad, it's going to be delivered back
real
to you
bad
3 times.
You may be thinking of like a movie or a story's definition of a Wiccan. I'm thinking more of a generic, you know, generalized.
No, I'm thinking of my ex-girlfriend that ran a Wiccan store and now has a therapy. I've had some experience with this. It's years ago, but you know, that was my understanding.
All right. We have to wrap this one up because we're running out of time. My biggest question is, are you using these rituals to benefit GeekPod? Because that would be awesome.
This is
You
true.
said we weren't going to pick on people.
I'm not picking on them. Bring us your voodoo magic. Give us all the human monies. And on that note, we're going to send it to break. We want you to watch this debut of our newest GeekPod ad. And we'll be back after that. Stick with us, guys.
Yes, hello, Thanos here. Very nice, very evil, very famous. To let you know that the 2023 season of the podcast, GeekPod, has started. Ciao. It is a pop culture variety podcast with new episodes dropping weekly on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Who knows where that may be? Danhausen doesn't, but apparently it's there. So hopefully this is good, and see you later. Bye.
How about that, huh? Danhausen. Anyway, let's jump right back into it. I believe it's my turn, or is it yours, Hugh? It's yours.
Okay.
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 Okay. Dear Geek Pod, it's me again. I just took 3 more quizzes from different companies that all said the same thing. Oh man, it all said the same thing. Is this a conspiracy? Why isn't it happen? Make it happen. I know you guys can fix this. Signed, how many diamonds does one girl have to post on Facebook?
Go have a talk with your significant other, not us. Period.
Yeah, we addressed this already.
Okay.
Be patient. Talk to
Next
your peeps.
question.
Yeah.
You know what? That was a buy, so I'm just gonna do the next one, Paul. All right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Geek Pod boys. My boyfriend throws a fit every time I watch my favorite show. He says I pay more attention to the 2 stars of the show than I do him. He's right. I'm obsessed with these 2 brothers, but still, how can I get him to just watch it with me? Carry on my wayward sons. Signed, Dean's Girl Forever. We know exactly who that is.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't.
Supernatural.
Well, can we say it? I mean,
she made it very obvious. Let's
yeah.
Okay. Laura. if you
You
missed
said you weren't going to call anybody out.
It's obvious this one.
Yeah.
To us.
To anyone on Facebook.
Yeah. Even in our group, she's yes. Yeah.
She is yes.
Yeah.
She likes hearing her name said on the show, so she's not going to mind.
So Laura's name is going to be substitute for yes now.
Yeah, Laura.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, maybe little bit less obsession on the Winchester boys. You can kind of see his point. I'm pretty sure you'd run off with apparently Dean, if you were able. So I get it. I get it. Yeah, he may not be wrong on this one. That's all I got.
Also, yeah. Well, then why don't I know you have an obsession with these 2 guys, and he knows that. Why don't you watch a show that he likes and then see his obsession about somebody too? So why don't you let him see what he likes, and you're like, oh wow, he likes that too. So start to get some of his interest too. Maybe he likes a show that you might start to like too. You're like, oh my god, he really likes her. He's paying more attention to her on the TV other than me. So he kind of sees what you're feeling. So
I got nothing here. The only reason my wife ever went out with me is because I look like somebody from television.
Magnum PI.
You think?
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Corbs? No. All right. Moving on.
No, I haven't had a chance to say
I'm
anything.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What
I'm
the hell?
sorry.
I am the one person here that can actually talk about that subject.
Very true.
All I have to say,
You have an unnatural obsession with 2 men on a television show?
maybe,
Oh,
just
well,
tell
all
your
right then.
boyfriend that he needs to wear more flannel. That should solve the problem.
All right.
Can't never go wrong with more flannel. Just
Exactly.
like more combo.
She could buy him some flannel. Whoever this is could buy their significant other more flannel. Done.
Boom.
So
Buy the flannel.
This next episode, we're all going to wear flannel shirts.
No, we're not all
No.
going to dress like Dean.
I can't wear flannel.
No.
I have
You
flannel.
look like a lumberjack. I'll take that as a yes.
Hey.
Okay.
I'm a musician. I have worn my quota of flannel. I'm not allowed to wear it again.
I grew up in the 90s. Yes, I wore my quota too. Okay, my turn, I guess. Hello, podcast hosts. My husband is an amateur podcaster. He spends all of his time working on skits and editing videos for a weekly comedy podcast that really isn't funny at all. He's been doing this nonsense with his friends for almost a decade, and I'm pretty sure no one listens to them. How can I tell him it's time to give it up and get a grown-up hobby like watching sports or working on cars?
Can I go
Signed,
first, please?
married to a man-child.
Can I go first? Can I go first?
Please do.
Can I go first? 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 Can I go first Give it up. You're not going to be able to convince him because all of us have tried to tell him, and none of us are getting through.
Anyone else?
Well, maybe she can start her own like spin-off podcast as well. So maybe she can start her own because he's been doing it a while. Maybe she'll have interest in it too. She's like, oh wow, this is a lot of fun. She can do it with her female friends.
I mean,
Unlike him, she knows there's no future in it.
That's a
I
good
know.
title. No future in it.
No future in it. My thing is let him have his interest in his hobbies. I mean, he could be out doing other things at night that are more destructive, I guess. Drinking, drugs, cheating.
No, he couldn't.
podcasting saved your marriage and you don't even know it.
Seriously,
It keeps him in the house.
right? And so did
basement.
COVID, but that's besides the point.
But I mean, trying to get someone to pick up working on cars as a hobby, that can get expensive
Mm-hmm.
and dangerous. And there are people who are naturally gifted. Like, I don't know this for a fact, but I am under the impression that Kevin has a natural affinity for fixing machines and putting shit together and tearing it apart. I would kill myself. Okay? I would die. I just don't have it.
Right.
Paul, please weigh in.
Don't ruin somebody's hobbies. Give them the hobbies they want to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not up to someone else to choose the hobbies for them. You're wrong on this one. But it was a really nice belt. Thank you.
I was gonna say maybe you need to limit who sees those posts about, hey, write us, because
All right, Hugh, you ready?
yeah. Okay. All right. Dear Geek Pod, I've been listening to you guys since the beginning.
Wow.
I remember the first time you did this advice column. So here's my question. I recently got a new, better job. It's great. I work from home and make a lot more money, and apparently
Good for
that's a
you.
problem for my boyfriend. He's used to being the breadwinner, and he isn't handling this change in our dynamic very well. This is really starting to affect our relationship. How do I make him understand that he's still the big daddy, even though his paycheck is kind of shrimpy? Signed, not a measuring contest, but mine is bigger.
Can I go first?
Go ahead, Kev.
My wife makes more than I do. You're never going to see me complain about that. Never.
I'm with Kevin on that one. Same thing.
Me too.
I'm just gonna say, revel in it.
Right.
She makes more money than you. Great. You guys can do things together. If she's working all the time, that's a different story. But still, I mean, who cares
Yeah.
who makes the most money?
Yeah, if she makes more money, that shouldn't be the deciding factor. Who cares? Support her. She's doing really well for herself. So if that really bothers you, then quit your shrimpy job and then do something more. Get a better job yourself.
Well,
Get a better job.
And
I
she,
think
I guarantee you, there's better jobs out there for you, pal.
of
I
course,
think we're
yeah.
all
Don't sulk.
I think we're all telling her that she needs a different boyfriend.
Yeah, if he's gonna be like that, then honestly, I'm on her side. And then it's like what Adam Sandler said, and then we Big Daddy. She can be your sugar mama. I gotta get me one of those.
Well, I think we're missing some context here. What if, because he previously he was the one who was making the most money. Now she's making the money. That maybe they don't have combined finances. Maybe her making more money means she's going out and doing all this great stuff and buying all this stuff. And, he's kind of looking at that and maybe he's a little jealous. I'm not saying that it's right, but I know that, I mean, with my wife and I mean, there's no separate paychecks. We have one bank account. Everything goes into it. I don't even worry about it. There is no my money or her money. It's just our money. And that really levels the playing field. I mean, maybe, I mean, let's say, he was making the money before, so all the bills are coming out of his smaller paycheck now, and they're still coming out. So he's feeling that pinch. I don't know. There could be some other things there. Maybe if that's the case, splitting things more fairly might make him feel a little bit better. Because, I mean, really, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if your wife makes more than you, as long as you have the money to do the shit you want to do.
Agreed.
Mhm.
I mean, that's it. And, when I want something, I buy it. When I want $40 ramen, I buy $40 ramen. And my wife doesn't yell at me. She just says, hey, can I try one? So
she should pick up a truck payment for him and buy him a Fleshlight butt version.
Or he should stop being an asshole, buy her some flowers and chocolates, and say, "Good job,
he
honey. You did
can't
great."
afford it.
Right. He's
He
paying
can't
all the
afford it.
bills.
Remember that.
He
can
working
find
at
a way.
He's working at the freaking local mobile station, for Christ's sake.
I mean,
gas.
let's be honest here. Let's look and see if that was really the situation and he had all the bills coming out of his paycheck. How many of us are actually going to go to our significant other and say, since you're making more money now, can you start paying some of the bills? Of course not. He just kept having the bills come out of his paycheck because he didn't want to get punched or not have sex for like a month.
What were you gonna say, Corbs?
No, I was just raising my hand. I would ask my significant other
Oh,
to pick up some of the bill slack.
Settle it up.
Look, I'll tell you right now, I'm under the opponent that it is a 2-income household across the board. It's not like it was in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s where the man went out and earned all the money. If you want to have things and do things,
Yeah.
you gotta have two incomes coming in. You can't just do one. And if you want to have things, do things, go places, and whatnot, 2 incomes.
There's you're right, Corbs, but there also has to be some faith in the relationship, because someone's got to be responsible and the other person has to follow the lead, right? Because if whoever's in charge has no control and likes to shop for
Right.
collectors' toys all the time and spend all their spare money on it, you're not going to want to leave that person in charge of the finances. You're not going to feel good about it because you're not really sure exactly what they're going to do when they got 2 paychecks under their control.
Sure.
So
That's when you give them an allowance, right?
well, exactly. So I get $100 a week, whether I want it or not. And my wife takes care of everything. And guess what? We don't have any bills because everything's paid for. And it has been for years. So I had to trust that she was going to do that. I knew that's the way we're headed. That was the plan. That was the discussion. But that's just it. You got to have the discussion. You got to have a plan. You got to have a plan of action. And guess what? I got a fucking garage full of motorcycles because everything just worked out. We spend the money, we save the money, we pay the bills, and we're both happy. We're both enjoying our lives.
well, also I want to weigh in one more thing too, because this July I'll have my house myself for 6 years. I bought the house myself. Nobody bought the house with me. When I first, like, Emily and I were getting in our relationship, she was like, "Who's the girl?" I'm like, "What do you mean, what girl?" She's like, "Who'd you buy the house with?" I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" She's like, "You had to buy the house with somebody." I'm like, "No." Ever since I could remember, I would just rake yards or mow yards. And I got my first job when I was 14, just saving my money because I knew I wanted to buy a house. So I did this all by myself. And I was like, yeah, if you ever move in this house, though, I said this right hand to God, you move in this house, well, you can move in, but this will always be my house. You're not getting on that fucking deed. That is my house. But if we ever get a house together down the road, we can do that together. But this will always be my house. So I'm very proud that I did this myself. I pay all my bills myself. Would I want to do more traveling and do more fun stuff? Yeah, I need more money for maybe another job, but it's tough. But I pay everything all by myself.
This milk could be our milk.
No milk will ever be our milk.
Thank you, Jack. I'm glad you got it.
I got you.
Look it up. Okay.
Learn a book.
Are we ready to move on to the next one? This one's mine, right?
Did you weigh in?
Did I weigh in?
No.
Did Hugh weigh in?
I did.
Yes.
You
but
did.
Paul
Paul
did.
did not.
Yeah, he needs to just relax. It's not a bad gig when your wife is the one that makes more money than you. It's you just need to be confident in yourself. It's not like the 50s, like you said. It's okay to let them make more money. You're still doing your part. That's the
I mean,
thing.
it's
Do your
about damn
part.
time, isn't it?
Yeah. As long as they're still in the kitchen. No, it's just
Oh,
Don't
Wait,
go
wait,
there.
is that
Yeah.
how it works? Because my wife makes more money and I do all the cooking. Oh my God, I'm the bitch.
My
Well played, sir.
all right. And then we are gonna move it on. And I
Mhm.
think it's my turn, right?
Yes, it is.
How do I keep pulling the fucked up ones? Dear Geek Pod, last year I got out of a bad long-term relationship. My boyfriend of several years cheated on me constantly. I only found out because accidentally. Oh, they missed the word. I only found out because he accidentally called me by the other guy's name during sex. He tried to play it off like it was just a mistake. But once I started digging, I discovered he was living a whole different life. To get back at him, I waited until he was in a relationship and then seduced his boyfriend. I wanted to hurt him, but it backfired on me. His boyfriend apparently told him about it, and now they won't stop bugging me to have a threesome with them.
What?
They keep leaving bags of chocolate penis-shaped candies on my doorstep and sending me dick pics. The other day, they sent a mail stripogram to my job. I need this to stop before I get fired. Please help. Signed, too many
What?
cocks in the kitchen.
How are you not fired from the dick stripper at work already?
That depends, because
yeah,
I once
that's
knew a trans girl who worked at a Kentucky Fried Chicken, who would show up completely drunk and pull her birdseed boobs out, because this was before HRT and all that stuff, and just be a complete trashy mess. And she was the manager, and she managed to somehow keep her job while doing this once every 2 or 3 months. So.
Perfect.
You just
No amount of pizza parties are going to fix that.
this person has got to separate themselves from these two. Just get the
Yes.
hell away from them, and just
Yeah.
stop associating with them, and just tell them straight up, like, look, I'm done with this. And they got to move away. They obviously don't want to. They still wants to be with the one guy or both or whatever. Maybe there's a little bit of a desire to be with one or both, or maybe not at the same time, but either one. But you got to get out of it. You get out, get away, find somebody else. Just be done with it. Just stay away from it, because here's what people don't like. They don't like to be ignored. They don't like to be not considered. When you're not talking about them, when you're not talking to them, when you're not acknowledging them, that is absolutely the biggest slap in the face. Do it long enough, they'll give up.
Mm-hmm. People go away.
People go
But
away.
it sounds like they are trying to ignore them, aren't they?
No.
No, it
No.
sounds
Oh,
like they're
absolutely
kinda
not.
interacting.
Well, they know how to push your buttons too. Like literally, it's like what Kev says. You just need to be firm, no pun intended, firm with it, and be like, no, leave me alone, and be stern about it.
Right.
Because she's probably saying nonchalantly, and they're like, oh, we're gonna still keep fucking with you and all that stuff. So no, you just have to be serious about it. Get Geek Pod. Maybe maybe get a group of people to help you out or something like that. Like
Jack,
you
looking
can't
for
you can't
roommates.
do it alone. No, not get no. You don't. No, don't say
Jack's
how
looking
this.
for
No.
roommates. He loves
But,
chocolate penises.
No, those are
Oh,
yours.
great. Oh, my
I saw-
God. My Facebook feed.
Oh. But just
Corbs?
get a group of friends together.
Right.
That's all, and that can help out.
Just like everybody's saying, you gotta ignore them, block the number,
No
whatever.
way.
Just leave them alone, and eventually they will go away.
2 words. Restraining order.
I was gonna say that. Oh my God. I mean, I'm pretty sure that in this day and age, chocolate penis candy, that's a cancellation right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what kind of sick, twisted person would give someone candy shaped like a penis, huh, Paul?
What are you doing?
Yeah, penis candy.
Oh, is that the big bag of dicks I gave you because
That
you're a
would
big
be
bag
it.
of dicks? Okay.
Yes.
I can't
Ew.
believe you saved that.
Oh yeah, it's up on with all the mementos.
Eventually, he's gonna start eating some of them.
Discreetly
Salty flavor.
spaced away from all my dad's mementos. Just FYI.
Well, I mean, it is candy. It really depends on how he eats them because we'd have to see that before we make our judgments.
Again, you'll notice it's still sealed.
Thank God.
You.
All right. Long-term relation. Okay. All right. Dear GeekPod, how do I start dating again? My wife of 15 years died in a random whale watching incident during the pandemic, and my friends have been telling me it is time to get myself back out there again. To be honest, I am kind of terrified. With all the hashtag #MeToo stuff that's happened in the past few years, I'm not sure what is appropriate to do now. Is anything appropriate? I am all for holding people accountable, and I'm not complaining about how things have changed. It is a good thing, but I don't know how to approach women now. A few weeks ago, I was buying some eggs at the store, and I said, "How are you today?" to the cashier. She said, "Are you trying to rape me?" To which I replied, "Not at all, but at $8 a dozen, I think you were trying to rape me." Needless to say, I am not allowed to shop at that Wegmans anymore. The judge let me plead to aggravated assault and let me off with 40 hours of community service. He told me I was lucky I didn't end up on the registry. I feel like this is a completely different world and nothing makes sense. Do you have any advice? Signed, eggs are cheaper at Costco anyway.
Stop touching the fucking cashier.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, he didn't end up in front of a judge because he fucking just said something to her. Sorry, it just doesn't happen that way.
Well, dating is very difficult. Like, it happens when you least expect it. So, like, the online dating apps are stupid, and like the hashtag.
I met my wife online.
No, I disagree.
Oh, I paid for those dating apps, and they did nothing.
Oh, I used the
disagree.
free one.
No,
Oh.
listen. This person is older. What they say, their wife was 50 something.
They were married for 15 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
15, 1-5?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
1-5.
Because
Well,
there are dating apps for older folks. Now, if this person isn't of the 50 plus, then that probably doesn't work.
Well, oh yeah, you're probably
We don't know.
right.
Yeah.
Because those apps tend to be a little bit more serious. I mean, I'm not saying they don't just hook up for good times, but you don't end up with the party girl or the party boy or whatever. Just by what I've heard. I mean, I don't know for a fact. I just have a few people that
Check
have
your
told me.
bookmark.
I don't have. Actually, the one I do have bookmarked. Listen to this. If you're a younger man and you are looking for a really good time, you really want to look up Cougar Life.
Farmer's Almanac.
CougarLife.com. Cougar Life.
Cougar.
You'll find yourself an older woman that wants to take care of you. And I've seen it. Actually, with my own eyes, I've seen it.
Wow.
And I wish I was that young.
Anything else to add, gentlemen, on that? Can you help this guy out?
Corbs, you haven't even judged.
Just tell your friends to mind their own business. If you want to date, date. If you don't.
Right. It is
Well, how
your
does-
life.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they want to date, but they're concerned about how much the world has changed.
It sounds to me like he just wanted to buy eggs.
Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you're in your I don't know 40s, 50s, whatever, however old this person is, what do they do? How do they go? And I don't even know. I wouldn't even know how I would go out and meet someone. I wouldn't even. I know exactly how that would work. I wouldn't, because if
You would
this
just
one,
be like a hermit.
if this one goes away for any reason, you'll never fucking see or hear from me again. That'll be my excuse.
Just to go into the woods, grow a beard.
Fuck yeah, I won't come back.
No, he'll be in jail.
Yeah.
I'll be in jail.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about finding someone in jail. They'll find you.
Yeah. Hey, you look like someone on TV. Come here.
Right.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I don't know. I've thought about it myself. I stay abreast of the news more than your average person these days, and It is a little scary. What was that, Kev?
What do you have bookmarked?
CNN, PBS NewsHour, all sorts of stuff for my job. It is a little scary because, I think about, pretty much everything I did in my dating career probably could get me canceled now. Things that were completely innocent or playful or flirty or whatever. It seems like it's a world where, you don't flirt. It seems like people just have to get in a room, look at each other and say, I like Pokemon. I like anime. Okay, let's get married. I don't even understand how that happens anymore, how they get from point A to point B without the same interpersonal relationship dynamics. Now, maybe there are new dynamics I don't understand because I'm from a different generation and I'm older, but I would think those dynamics would be recognizable. Like, I know my dad didn't woo my mom the same way I wooed my wife, but I'm pretty sure if I looked at the process, I would understand what was going on, I feel like these days you look around and I don't even know how it happens.
Well,
Yeah.
It's like what Hugh said, though. Like, I'm going back to what I said before. It happens when you least expect it. Because, like I said, I paid for those dating apps. And literally, I filled out those profiles. And literally, you message somebody, oh, wow, I see we have a similar interest. That's really cool. They read your comment, but then they don't even respond to you. Or you go on a date, and then they take notes the whole time. It's like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. And I had a girl do that to me once. And then last year, like I said, my basement flooded. I was really pissed off. I was like, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll get a part-time job. And then I met my girlfriend at Wegmans. And then it's like, it happened when we least expected it.
Didn't you say you stalked her at Wegmans?
No.
Followed her around or some shit? That's what I
No.
remember you saying.
No.
No, Kevin, he didn't.
I have the perfect example here, okay? Paul, you'll remember this particular reference. Do you remember St. Valentine's Day Massacre, the WWE pay-per-view?
Vince McMahon.
Yes.
Okay.
Vince McMahon.
Vince on the cage and everything. During that pay-per-view, I was living in Brewerton. I couldn't actually watch it. I was actually it was like I had cable, but I put it like between channels and I could hear what was going on. We've all done it.
Yep.
And I drove up to McDonald's because they had a deal on Big Macs and really quick when there was nothing going on. And as I went through the drive-thru, I get to the drive-thru and there's this girl there and I go, hey, you're cute. You should come back and listen to the pay-per-view with me. Ended up dating her for a little while because of that, because after she was like, well, I'm working right now, but I get off at 9. And it actually worked. If I did that now, if I didn't get arrested, at the very least, I wouldn't be able to go back to that McDonald's anymore.
Right.
Okay.
You definitely would have been pound me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hashtag me too.
No, you said it right, Paul.
Right. It was the pound symbol. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't know, man. My advice to you is probably the most important advice I can give you in the dating world today: sex doll. Better than a fleshlight, butt version. It's kind of hard to have an emotional attachment to an unattached butt, but
unattached butt.
My God.
All right. Yeah. It sounds like you are not equipped right now for the dating scene in 2023.
Equipped.
So maybe
anyone?
I don't think so. Maybe take your time and scope stuff out. Yeah, that's how I would go with it.
Or pick up girls at a biker bar because they don't give a shit. They're not going to report
There's that.
anything.
Yeah. All right, boys, we ready to bring this home? We got one last one.
Okay.
Fuck you, Geek Pod. It's the day after Valentine's Day.
Did this come in today?
Yeah. It's the day after Valentine's Day. No ring. I trusted you guys. I spent all this time listening to your shitty podcast, and you can't even do the one thing I asked you to do. Good luck with the other half of your audience. I'm out. I'm going to go roller skating and then look for a different podcast to listen to. One that isn't part of the Facebook conspiracy. Signed, Dr. Hugh hasn't written a funny bit since Diane's Vegetti.
What?
Wow.
Was that the I've taken all the Facebook quizzes, girl.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Bye,
Why?
Felicia.
I've written at least 1 or 2 funny bits since then.
Usually in the news. Yes.
That was like episode 37.
Yes. 121 episodes ago.
Did you count?
This is 168.
All I have is for this comment. Okay. I got nothing.
Nothing, honey.
She gone.
Kev, anything for this?
Wow.
Perfect.
I'm acting like I don't care, and I'm ignoring it.
Okay.
Paul?
Yeah. Sorry you feel that way.
I just, really? Not anything good since Diane's Spaghetti? Come on.
You're supposed to be helping her, not about your comments.
Yeah, well, now I have a complex. Now she needs to help me. Help me understand why she's the gatekeeper of comedy.
She's not. She's getting under your skin. She can
Definitely.
go away. We don't want her.
I take back everything nice I said.
There you go. All right. So there ends the relationship advice segment. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Do we have anything else to touch upon, or we want to bring this thing home?
Kev's looking at his phone.
Yeah,
Corbs.
His phone.
I'm done with it.
All right. Well, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and drop my nuggets then.
Drop your nuggets, Paul.
You're sad about being alone on Valentine's Day? Just remember, nobody loves you any of the other days of the year either.
Oh.
Good night, everybody, and megabyte me, bitches.
This has been a GeekPod Network production.